You know, in Harv Eker's bestseller, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, he makes this huge claim. He says there's one thing that really separates the rich from everyone else, and it's got nothing to do with your job, your education, or even your investments. So in this explainer, we're going to dig in and find out exactly what it is.
Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? You're working hard, you're learning all the strategies, but for some reason, your bank account just isn't getting the message. It's that super frustrating feeling, like you're just one tiny step away from a breakthrough, if only you knew what that step was. Well, according to Eker, that secret isn't hidden in some new business plan or a hot stock tip. Nope. The missing piece of the puzzle is actually inside your own head. He says that getting wealthy is an inside game first and an outside game second.
To really get this big idea, we've got to start with the author's own story. And it's a classic, a real tale of hitting rock bottom right before having this life-changing breakthrough.
So, Eker was what you'd call Mr. Potential. I mean, the guy had huge dreams, a killer work ethic, and he started business after business, but every single one ended the same way, total failure. It got so bad he found himself completely broke and living back in his parents' basement, just wondering, why is everyone else making it, but I'm not?
And then, the big turning point. It came from this one piece of advice from a wealthy family friend. This single sentence completely flipped Eker's perspective. It wasn't about bad luck. It wasn't that he wasn't working hard enough. It was simply a gap in his knowledge.
And that was the big aha moment. The real missing link wasn't business strategy. It was a fundamental, deep-down difference in mindset. He figured out that rich people have a totally different way of thinking about money, about success, about life itself. And if he could just learn to think like they did, he could get their results.
Okay, so this brings us to the absolute core idea of the whole book, something Eker calls your subconscious money blueprint.
So picture this blueprint like a thermostat in your house. Let's say your financial thermostat is set to, I don't know, $50,000 a year. You might have an amazing year and make $90,000, but chances are you'll subconsciously find a way to spend it, lose it, or just mess it up to get back to your $50,000 comfort zone. It's your deep-down preset program for wealth. Eker has this brilliant way of explaining it with a tree. He says our financial results, the money, the success, that's the fruit on the tree. If you don't like the fruit, you can't just tape new apples on the branches. It doesn't work. You have to go deeper, down to the roots, your inner world of thoughts and beliefs.
I mean, it sounds simple, but think about how deep that goes. The amount of money in your bank, your job, your investments, all of it is just a printout of what's going on inside your mind. A lack of money isn't the real problem, it's just a symptom. The real problem is your internal programming.
And here's the formula for how it all works. Eker calls it the process of manifestation. Your programming creates your thoughts. Your thoughts lead to your feelings. Your feelings drive your actions, and your actions produce your results. So you see, if you want to change your results, you can't start with your actions. You have to go all the way back to the beginning, your programming.
Right, so if this programming is everything, then where the heck does it come from? Well, Eker argues that for almost all of us, that blueprint was pretty much set in stone when we were kids.
Eker says it all boils down to three main things that conditioned us: what we heard about money, what we saw our parents do with money, and specific things we experienced around money. Let's break those down real quick.
First up, verbal programming. Just think about all the phrases you heard about money over and over again growing up. We can't afford that. Rich people are greedy. Or the classic, money doesn't grow on trees. These aren't just words. They're instructions that got downloaded right into our subconscious, forming our money blueprint.
And this is the kicker. This is why this programming is so tough to break free from. Logically, you might know you need to save more money. But if your subconscious was programmed to believe that wanting money makes you a greedy person, that deeply rooted emotion is going to sabotage your logical efforts every single time. Emotion almost always wins.
Next up, we've got modeling. And let's be honest, as kids, we're basically little copycats, right? We watched exactly how our parents handled money. Were they big spenders, super frugal? We either soaked up their habits and became just like them, or if we really hated their habits, we swung to the complete opposite extreme, which can be just as limiting.
Eker tells this fantastic story about how we do this without even thinking. There's this woman who always cuts the ends off her ham before cooking it. Why? Because her mom did. And her mom did it because her mom did. Well, it turns out the grandmother only did it because her pan was too small. A habit passed down for generations had nothing to do with taste.
It was just a limitation from the past. We do the exact same thing with money.
So that's a perfect question to ask yourself right now. What are your ham habits? What financial things are you doing just because that's how it was always done in your family without ever stopping to ask why?
And the third way our blueprint gets set, specific incidents. Sometimes just one powerful emotionally charged event from childhood can cement a belief about money for life. For instance, Eker talks about a nurse he met who watched her father have a fatal heart attack right after a huge, stressful argument about money. Her young mind connected money directly with pain, and as an adult, she subconsciously made sure she never had any.
So, okay, if we're all walking around running on this old, outdated programming, what do we do about it? How do we actually change it and install a new blueprint that's set for success? Well, that's where Eker's wealth files come in.
The fix, Eker says, is to basically install new software in your brain. You have to consciously choose new ways of thinking. He lays out 17 of these wealth files, which are just the specific beliefs and attitudes that rich people share. Let's jump into some of the most powerful ones.
Okay, first big shift. What's your default focus? People with a poor mindset tend to see obstacles everywhere. Their brain is always scanning for what's wrong or what could go wrong. It's all about fear. Rich people, on the other hand, scan for opportunities. They're focused on the potential reward, on the growth.
And what that means is, rich people are willing to act. They trust that they can figure things out as they go. You could call it a ready, fire, aim approach. They just get in the game. Poor-minded people often get stuck in ready, aim, 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 aim. Total analysis paralysis. They're trying to make everything perfect before they start, which usually means they never start at all. Now, this next mindset is a huge one. Instead of resenting people who are wealthy, Eker says you have to practice admiring them, blessing them, and loving them. If you see someone with a beautiful home, bless that person and bless that home. See a nice car? Bless the owner and bless the car. Why? Because you can never, ever become something that you resent. Think about it. When you feel resentment toward wealth, you're sending a powerful message to the universe, and more importantly, to your own subconscious, that being rich is bad. So how could you possibly become rich if, deep down, you think rich people are evil? Rich people do the opposite. They look at other people's success as inspiration. It's proof that it can be done.
And that idea flows right into the next one. Who you spend your time with. Eker is super direct about this. He says energy is contagious. If you're always hanging around negative, broke, or cynical people, that attitude is absolutely going to rub off on you. It's like trying to stay warm while standing in a walk-in freezer. It's just not going to happen.
And believe me, successful people get this. They make it a point to associate with other positive, successful people. They don't see another person's success as a threat. They see it as a chance to learn, to get motivated, to be inspired. They model success instead of getting dragged down by negativity. Okay, next up, rich people are willing and even eager to promote themselves and their value. A lot of people have this negative feeling about selling or promotion, but as Eker points out, if you truly believe in what you have to offer, isn't it your duty to let as many people as possible know about it? Listen, the secret to success isn't about trying to make your problems disappear. That's impossible. The secret is to grow yourself so that you are bigger than any problem. You know, when you're a big person with a strong mindset, problems seem small and manageable. But when you're a small person, even tiny problems can feel like these massive, insurmountable walls. Okay, this next idea, it's a little sneaky, but it is absolutely crucial. Rich people are excellent receivers, and most of us, we're terrible at it. Think about it. If someone gives you a compliment, do you just brush it off? If a great opportunity comes your way, does a little voice in your head say, you don't deserve it? We've all been taught it's better to give than to receive, but Eker says that's wrong. They're two sides of the same coin. For every giver, there has to be a receiver.
So, the easiest way to start practicing is to just say thank you and own it. And finally, the last wealth file we'll cover is about how you get paid. Rich people choose to get paid based on their results. Poor people choose to get paid for their time. Now, trading time for money has a built-in limit, right? There are only 24 hours in a day. Wealthy people create businesses or systems where they're paid for the value they produce, and there is no ceiling on that.
So, after all that, what's the big takeaway? What's the bottom line? Well, it all boils down to one final, incredibly empowering message.
This is the declaration that's underneath all the other wealth files. You are not a passenger in your life. You are the driver. It's time to take your hands, Put them firmly on the steering wheel of your financial life and fully accept that you are the one creating your results. When you really boil it down, every single thought you have is either moving you closer to wealth or further away from it. There are no neutral thoughts. Every single one is either an investment in the future you want or it's a cost that keeps you stuck right where you are.
So look, the real question here isn't what did you learn? It's what are you gonna do? What is the one limiting belief, that one piece of old, outdated programming that you will consciously choose to change starting right now? Because as Eker makes crystal clear, the choice is all yours.